As soon as I'd swatched these Dino gels, they just screamed flower base to me. So very quickly, easily, I had an idea that I wanted to play with flower molds again, and that this would be a wonderful base to do them on. So I played with them a little bit, and here you can see I have done my flowers. I have laid them out to get the elements where I wanted them, and I also laid the colors over the gels that I was considering. And by doing this, I could see which color actually made the florals pop right there. Whereas the green, while a fantastic color and what I was originally thinking I was going to be using, it just, to me, drowns out a bit, right? So while you could go with multiple colors and try to get really fun, I'm going to keep it simple today, and I'm just going to use this as my base. They're so lovely. They have like little bits in them that look kind of flowery petalish, even though they're just little flakes. And then they have a little hint of color in there and a tiny gold fleck. So just gives you something so that you don't have a completely plain flat background going on. I've got the Ablliz Dino Gel collection here today. This collection is rather different than a typical glitter. It's the full 6-piece collection. I just didn't receive the box for it. So I'm going to check out what these are like and get swatching to see how they turn out. This gives me cherry blossom vibes for some reason. It's beautiful. Here is the Dino Gel collection. This is a very pastel kind of look. I've done them as always with matte and glossy top coat. This is my favorite Ablliz collection out of the ones I've gotten so far. It's just really unique. It's not like anything else I have. Very much like a flower gel. It just has really nice colors and it was pretty easy to work with. I had to fuss around with it a little bit, but really not that much. No more than any usual typical glitter. And the little flower bits in there are really, really nice. That hint of gold fleck is just beautiful. They just worked out really nice. I like this set. I'm not a big fan of too many of the other ones that I got, but this one has been a definite winner for me. From the looks of it, it's discontinued now at Sweetie Nail Supply. I don't know if they will restock, but you might be able to find it other places. But if you want something similar that you might be able to find easier, it looks like the Bevlah collections. They have a couple different ones, the Rocco Fantasy, I want to say I Am Flower, and Cottage Core. All of them have a somewhat similar effect, and they would be quite as nice for a floral background, I think. I've been looking at picking up maybe one of them to try out. I think it was the Cottage Core is the one that I was liking the best. So that would be another brand to try out for something that looks similar to this. And those can be found on Sweetie Nail Supply. You can use my code LYN for 10% off anything that you order from Sweetie Nail Supply to save some money. So that now that I had picked out the color I was going to be using and laid out my florals to see how well my placement would look, something that was cohesive and not too repetitive, is now time for me to prep my nails. So I'm going to give them a file buff, give them their prep and primer, and then I will start the color. So my initial thought was to go like nail by nail and do each one individually. But I realized that that would be way more time consuming. So instead, I've decided to kind of shift my nails up to here, or my placement for my florals up to here. Hope to heck I don't bang stuff on my table and make them fly all over the place, because I'll never remember what was where. And then I'm going to go in and do all of the nails prepped and painted. And hopefully my little designs up there will stay in place and I will be able to put them back on where they belong when the time comes. So now that all of my tips are filed, prepped, and primed, I'm going to go in with my color. This just screams delicate florals to me. And milk bath. Oh, this would be beautiful to use over florals for a milk bath look. It's got that like hint of color in it, just like a milky gel, just with a little bit of extras. Some pretty, pretty extras. And if you're worried about those tip numbers showing through, you can always, with this gel, either pop a piece of floral bit, or you can always go underneath and top coat over the number and you'll be able to get rid of that. I'll cure that. So while these look really fantastic as they are, I'm going to go in with another coat just to try and build that color up a little better and add a little extra fluff in there that with all the glittery stuff, but try not to get too much extra in it, because ideally it's the color that I want more so than the little bits. It just layers up so pretty. I'm picturing this gel too as a baby boomer, like a French baby boomer would be nice. Maybe the pink one. That might be really cute. Something a little different. All right, I'm going to cure that. Okay, so that's 2 coats, and I think I'm pretty happy with where my color coverage is at. I gotta say, when it comes to this brand, the Ablliz brand, I've been finding them to be really hit and miss. Like, I wasn't all that impressed, and I wanted to love them, but it just wasn't really happening. But of all the collections, this one is well worth it. This one I find is something that I really like. It's a little bit more unique, and it covers and coats really well, and I just out of all the other ones, I mean, they're okay, and the sugar donut one was fun with like the frosting stuff, but this one is like this one's versatile, whereas that frosting gel, fun. You can do a few fun things with it, but you're not going to use it a ton. Whereas something like this, you'll find that you'll have a lot more uses for it. And I'm really liking the gel. It's smooth, it's nice, a lot better than the other ones. So what I'm going to try out here is the Gin Bee Gum Gel, and it's supposed to be super, super, super sticky, like gum, I guess. And I'm going to assume it's going to be like super thick then too, but we're about to find out. Oh, that doesn't seem that thick. I thought it would be a whole lot thicker. All right, so mystery solved. It is to be used similar to a transfer gel, but you do have to note that this is not your gel that's going to glue your item down. I'm not sure if it's the right product for this particular project. So I am going to take out a thicker jelly gel of some sort here. All right, so I've decided to reach for my Old Faithful, my Ugly Duckling Stick-It. This is like a nice thick holding charm gel. It is still going to be slippery and slide around, but at least I'll know it's secured. All right. And I think for this, I'm going to grab my Flash Cure Light so that I can hold down the pieces how I want them. Like here, for example, to get them to lay flatter for curing. I just want to kind of find the place where it hugs the nail the best within kind of where I want it placed. And then Flash Cure. All right, so now that everything has been placed and fully cured, I'm going to go in with my Jewelry Gem little pointer here, and I am going to just squeeze into any of the gaps, and that's going to help secure it in place anywhere that had a lift to it. Oh, see, there's a spot right there. It didn't get secured down. So we'll put a little dot under there. And you can see how under here, there's a big gap. Just because of the way that the charm was shaped, it was never going to lay flat there. And I go in underneath, because you don't want your hair getting caught in little spots underneath. So you basically just continue going around all the edges and filling in any lift anywhere. That should do it. So I'll do that to all of them. So I got all the underneath spots done and sealed up inside there. Now I know that I want my flowers to be matte. I'm just not sure whether or not I want my background to be matte. So I'm going to go in with some Crazy Top Standard and just try and do one of the nails sealed with the glossy, no wipe, and see how it looks against the matte flowers. And then I'll do one nail all matte and check the difference. All right, so here it is, done in matte all over and glossy background with the matte flowers. And you can see the matte looks so much better. The glossy, just the way the light's hitting it everywhere because it's chunky and like it's just not anywhere near as appealing. There's glare everywhere picking up and just does not have the same effect as it does all matte. So I am going to go with the matte. It looks much better. It's always a great idea, if you're not sure, to just try it out different ways and see how it's going to end up looking. Now, in my previous video doing the molds, I had done some of the matte top coat on some of the flowers while I was trying to hang on to them with the tweezers, and yeah, that was just ridiculous. So you'll notice now that, especially when you're like dealing with the gem glue and all that other kind of stuff, you're going to end up possibly getting glossiness onto them. So yeah, there's no point in top coating unless you're going to put them away and not use them for some period of time and you're worried about dust collecting on them and such. It makes way more sense if you're working on a project to just wait and top coat them once they're on the nail. I don't know why I do silly things like that all the time, but I do. I really do. I always make way more work for myself for some reason. So here I just made sure to go underneath the petals as well to get them matte coated so that, again, no dust is sticking under there to them. I'm using a smaller brush as opposed to just the big bottle brush, just so that I can, you know, do those ridges and stuff and make it a little less thick and bulky because I don't want to lose details on these charms. So I'm trying to keep it as thin as possible and leave all that ridge and texture and such there, as opposed to one great big overcoat. Takes a little more time, but you're going to have a little more crisp result. It's not necessary, but just how I like to do things. Damn! Look at these guys. They turned out fucking stunning. Like, I can't get over it stunning. I think this is my favorite set to date in all my years. And I'm not, like, I mean, yeah, I do a lot of florals, but I'm not that big of a floral person. I didn't expect to get so stuck on florals and didn't expect to get on such a kick for this, but these are insane and gorgeous, and they don't take a lot of skill level. Yes, they're time consuming and finicky, fidgety, but really very little skill level. The best thing you can have is having an idea of color, right? Being able to mix those colors to get a good color variation. Like, you know, you've got your light and your darker greens, and you've got your lighter pink with your darker spots in the center, but really, like, that was it, right? So knowing the right products to use, not necessarily brands, but just the right items to use to get the best results is going to go a long way for something like this, but anybody can do it, and they just turn out insane. So I got to say my favorite, I think, is this one. I think to do it again, I would do like more, right? I would fill this in with more floral, fill this in and this in, because I like the way that this is like kind of jam-packed in there. I didn't think I would, but I do. I like that. It looks really cool. And this one here, yeah, it looks a little open space there. But still, those are really my only kind of nitpicks at this one, I gotta say. So yeah, do it. It is incredible. I really hope you enjoyed this, guys. It was one of the most fun sets I have ever worked on. And really, in the grand scheme of things, for me personally, this took less time than when I'm trying to color block, hand paint designs, do different things like that, because I don't know, it just doesn't leave as much room for messing around as a perfectionist. It kind of takes care of itself. Like, it's phenomenal. I don't know. I may end up being just strictly a mold girl. I don't know. No, that's not going to be the case. But I just had so much fun with it, and I love the results so much that I know I'm going to be working more on this. I've got jellyfish. I've got dragons. I've got all kinds of fun things to do with these molds. Those will be coming up. Thanks so much for being here and watching. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, until next time, guys, don't forget to love your nails. Bye!